a conservative in America right now, every day seems a little like whack-a-mole. You know, every time there's a small victory over something insane from the left, another insane mole pops up. You're like, and you can't keep up with it. It's hard being an American, trying to keep the U.S. from going over a cliff, especially with all these moles. People either don't care or they're part of the left-wing operation to actively destroy the nation. People got to start caring pretty soon. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sure, this is fun, but we're running out of time. The thing about liberty is that you continually have to stoke the flames. You have to pay attention. The left is always trying to snuff it out. Make sure you don't need to pay attention to this. We're going to keep you safe. Nationally, we're not even in the ballpark anymore of Lincoln's government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And by the way, you people are like, yeah, you know, Lincoln was the first one. We've been under tyrants ever since. Give it a rest. Fundamental rights now are under attack. So I am sorry to report, but this is not a victory lap day. This is another whack-a-mole day. And we got lots of moles to whack, because we've had some over-the-top violations of basic American rights. Now, I know there's a lot of people in the audience, and maybe you were one of these people at one time. Maybe your teenage kids are one that will go, I've got rights, you know. Really, define them. Where they come from? Where are they enumerated? I just like to know. And then they're like, I hate you. And then they go to their room. Unfortunately, that's not the way the American populace should behave. We're in a crucial time. Are we truly a nation of laws, or are we a nation just of men? I believe we are a nation of laws, or at least can be once again, but more and more, it doesn't seem like we're going to be there. You can keep chiseling away at the foundation like the left is doing, but at some point, the moles have chipped away too much, and all of a sudden, you're on the cliff like Wile E. Coyote. Remember when he goes, blink, blink? Whew. I want to start with this question. Who gets to raise your children? I know. You bigot jumping right to you, me, the parent. Have you considered it might be the government? I mean, I'm just saying, the answer used to be a no-brainer, but everything used to be a no-brainer. Apparently, they're dealing with a very different kind of no-brainer situations in California. I think a lot of people in California literally have no brain. It's an emergency, and you have to be aware of the emergency because, well, it's happening in California, maybe not in your state yet, but it will be soon. The state of California just passed a law that will require judges in child custody cases to consider whether parents support a child gender transition. And nothing, I know nothing, only complete affirmation will be allowed. You know, who does that sound like? I'm trying. The state now thinks total affirmation is an integral part of a child, quote, of the child's health and safety and welfare. Now, a new law could result in a parent losing custody of their child. You will toe the line. The law passed along strict party lines, 57-16 in the state assembly and 30-9 in the state senate. It's got to be those damn Republicans with the 9 people in the Senate that have screwed that whole state up. I'm telling you that right now. Now, the law was initiated by Assemblywoman Lori Wilson, who has a transgender child, or she thinks she does. Here she is instructing us about our parental duty. Listen.
What's mentioned in the law is the child's gender identity and expression and the parent's affirmation of that, whatever it is, because that is our duty as parents to affirm our children.
She's right, you know. Now, some would say that's the dumbest parenting advice you'll ever hear. Not me, not me. I take it from the bald woman there. I don't listen to anybody that has shaved their head, unless they're a man, really, or, had some brain surgery or something. My daughter has had that, and I listen to her. But no, if you think that's a good look on you, Anyway, affirm your children. Affirm your children. So when my son said, I'm a firefighting unicorn, that's right, you are, Rafi. You're a firefighting unicorn, and water is, your horn is like a hydrant, and it just sprays out water and sprinkles too. Yeah, sometimes it is important to affirm your child, like, hey, good job. No, don't give up. Other times, I think it's the parent's duty to go, no, you don't know what you're talking about. See me? I'm this big. See you? You're this big. You don't know a lot of stuff yet. Now, according to Lori Wilson and the state of California, you have to affirm the most permanent, completely life-altering thing a kid can possibly do to themselves if they decide, you know what? I'm a woman. I don't have to pull this shirt out very much, because I'm practically at the bra stage at this point, and it's not because I'm a woman. I'm just fat. But don't you dare judge me. It's perfectly healthy. Watch, I could have a heart attack by the end of the show. So if they want to change their gender, you can't say anything. And that position is now being accepted and promoted across all of the left, including the White House.
To parents of transgender children, affirming your child's identity is one of the most powerful things you can do to keep them safe and healthy.
Can't believe we have the Crypt Keeper. Notice the consistent language, however, when you could make it out. To keep them safe and healthy. Can I just point out they're not going to be healthy for long once you start, clipping things off or sewing things on and hormone injections? I'm just saying. California State Senator Scott, I'm just saying it. Senator from California, Scott Wiener, added the affirmation part of the new law. Senator Wiener said it is vaguely defined to leave options open for using it against parents. Scott Wiener is the guy who also created the bill last year that made California a so-called sanctuary state for transgender kids from other states. Now, this new law should alarm and disgust everyone in America for the way it will let the state override the private family life and parenting decisions. I know I think about this all the time when we're having a conversation. How should we use the parenting? What do we do here? What do we do? I immediately think, man, I wish I had a giant fat wiener to tell me exactly what to do. In California, you've got plenty of them. Now, there's a long history of Supreme Court decisions upholding parental rights. There they are. Lots of them. California law has to be challenged all the way to the Supreme Court. Now, where it can be thrown into the trash heap of history is kind of an important thing. I'd like it thrown there right next to the Supreme Court, their trash can. The key part of California law is the vague affirmation requirement. They're making non-affirmation a crime by tying it directly to abuse. Yes, Johnny. Yes. You are a sprinkle-spewing, fire-fighting unicorn. You are. Did you ever see that episode where the little boy in the Twilight Zone and he was like, oh, don't make me mad, bink, and they were gone? Maybe we could get the state to do that. If our kids go like, I want you gone, we disappear into a prison. The left shows its hand in order to keep parents from knowing about if their child expresses transgender feelings at school. Why would you ever keep that a secret? Well, because you're so judgmental. Really? Were you for my kid doing a book report on the Bible? I'm trying to remember, was it you that had the problem with that one? They do it because their default assumption is that parents might object to their child's feelings. And you know what? Some of us would. And we might even try to talk talk to our own children and say, don't make this decision now, maybe when you're older, okay? Don't switch your biological sex. You know why? Because daddy says you can't actually do it. Yeah, not scientifically possible. But you keep talking about the magic beans with your teacher. Anyway, they want to keep it a secret from parents because they're hell-bent on rubber stamping the child all the way through the medical procedures to complete the so-called transition. Why? Maybe it's less babies. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because it'll be more suicide. I don't know why they do it, but they're doing it. By the way, in a sane world, adults trying to keep secrets with children, they're usually called groomers, and they're dangerous. If this law is not properly challenged, we already have a picture of what it will lead to. A Canadian father in British Columbia who opposed his teenage daughter's attempt to transition to a boy went to prison for violating court orders. Well, it'll never be like that. I mean, Canada is so different than... A judge declared him guilty of family violence for repeatedly referring to his daughter as she. Oh, will the violence not stop? He was ordered to stop trying to persuade his daughter away from hormone treatments and stop referring to her by her birth name. The court also instructed him not to speak publicly about the case. I love that when they do that. They punish you and don't ever say anything about her. They're going to punish you even more. I want him to disappear. The father spoke out because he was desperate to save his daughter. Did it work? No. He was arrested, sent to prison, and only recently has had his sentence reduced to time served plus probation in case he's got another kid. Now, don't think for a second that California's anti-parent law will stay in California, because it won't. California often rams through crazy progressive policy that much of the nation is like, the Californians are doing it, we should do it, it's really smart. You're already seeing the same subversive anti-parent agenda in other states. Recently in Colorado, teachers union, oh, I love these people, they told members to quietly survey their students about transgender feelings using paper and pencil so the results wouldn't leave a digital trail, wink, wink, and better keep the secret from parents. Oh, I feel so comfortable about sending my kids to school now. An email also instructed the teachers to, quote, make your notations about students and not hold on to the documents, but they sent this one in an email. Duh. In Maryland last month, a judge ruled that parents do not have the fundamental right to opt out of elementary school's curriculum in which the teachers read aloud from gender and sexually focused books and direct class discussions on the topic. Yeah, I can tolerate that because they didn't mind when the teacher said, hey, let's read something from the Bible. It's indoctrination! Oh, what's the difference here? One of the books that they like to read is called Born Ready, the true story of a boy named Penelope. Oh, it sounds like a Johnny Cash song if Johnny Cash had been insane. It's a book about a 5-year-old girl who thinks she's a boy. No, she's not. Now, there is a glimmer of hope in this war on parents. Republican Bill Saley is a freshman member of the California Assembly, and he is doing something that is a great model that maybe we should follow. Now, it didn't take long for him to realize it's not going anywhere. No, there's no common sense left in California. Republicans are just simply too outnumbered in the legislature there, and most of the Republicans there are probably frauds anyway. But it couldn't even get a committee hearing for his parent notification bill. Even though a recent Rasmussen poll shows 84% of Californians would support such a bill. So who are these guys representing? You? I'm sorry, I was assuming somebody had the sense to watch this program in California. So instead, he created a model parental notification policy that school boards can pass at the local level. 6 districts in California have adopted it so far. But democracy is under a threat. Yeah, it is. California's Attorney General is going after one of those districts for adopting his policy. The AG's filing claims that notifying parents would be discriminating towards certain students and subject them to, quote, mental, emotional, psychological, and potentially physical harm. Now, notice how the DOJ in California twists notifying parents into what he calls a forced outing. What kind of cartoon world are these people living in? These attacks from the left against parents and children are relentless. Resistance is futile. No, it's really not. Resistance needs to be relentless.